Hello everyone, myself Tushar and I am pursuing BA from GCCLC Kolkata, and currently I am a legal intern at LEXIS and Company law firm. So today I am going to discuss about another general defenses in tort law. So in this video we are going to cover two defenses of tort law, which is act of God and private defense. So first is act of God, which is also called vis major. So what is vis major? Vis major is a Latin term which means that which means superior force. So Latin term which means superior force is vis major. So what about the act of God? So basically, act of God is the application of defense. Hence, of act of God, there should be an extraordinary occurrence due to natural forces which cannot be anticipated or which could not be prevented with reasonable force. So basically, in this is when you have to use the defense of act of God, so there must be an extraordinarily occurrence due to natural forces. So extraordinary occurrence means that generally not happens, that is not commonly happen, and due to natural forces has a great role to play in this defense. So which cannot be anticipated. You can't anticipate an act of God. So you can't anticipate that the earthquake is going to come at this time and this moment. So you can't anticipate it perfectly, and the damages caused by an earthquake is an act of God, or which could not be prevented with reasonable means. You can't prevent an earthquake, no matter how much precautions you take. You can't prevent an earthquake. So earthquake is an act of God. So in this we are gonna look after a case law which is Nicholas versus Marshland. So basically, in the case law of Nicholas versus Marshland, what happens is that Nicholas, who is the defendant, made a man-made pool or man-made lake, you can say, and after some days it rained heavily, and the pool broke off, and the water and all the water goes to the plaintiff's land, and it caused a lot of damage. So the plaintiff took the matter to court, and the court and asked for compensation, but the court denied him compensation because this is an act of God. You can't anticipate it. So basically, there is a great difference between an inevitable act. So basically, there is a very thin difference, not a great difference. There is a very thin difference between act of God and act of God as defense, and inevitable accident as different. And because you can't anticipate an act of God and as well as an inevitable accident. You can't prevent it by using proper care and precautions, and you prevent the both by using proper care and precautions. But the only difference between them is the play of natural forces. In the process of act of God, natural forces are involved, but in the process of inevitable accident, natural forces need not to be involved. So the second defense, hence we are going to talk about, is private defense. It is very generally, you can and also say it as self defense. So what you can do, the law gives you power to defend yourself, other people, and property. So the law can give you power to defend yourself. You can defend yourself and other people. So the condition or to exercise self-defense is there should be an imminent and threat to person's life or property. So there must be an imminent threat, because if you don't act there must be a threat against you and your property. So so if you acted for your self-defense, and if there is imminent threat to you, then you can use the defense as per private defense. So the force used must be reasonable and proportionate. You can't pull a gun, and if a person slaps you, so you can't shoot him. So there was a famous case law, Bird versus Holbrook, in which there was as spring guns for or the protection of a property, and a trespasser trespassed his property, and he was hit badly by the spring guns, and when the matter went to court, he used the defense of private defense, but the court denied him. But the court denied this fact and said that no, there is a use of disproportionate force, and you can't use those disproportionate force in private defense. So there must be a reasonable force also against the force which is there must be a reasonable force. So we have understood what private defense and act of God, which is also called vis major. So that's all for today, guys. This is Tushar Jha signing off.